Hi everybody, this is lesson 11. We are going to develop rules for multiplying signed numbers. So our essential question is pretty simple today. What are the rules for multiplying integers? So we kind of touched on it in lesson 10, and now we're going to, kind of notice those patterns of what's going on when we multiply integers. For this one, we're still talking about the integer game, and we're going to be referring to either picking up cards, which would signify a positive number, or we're going to be talking about discarding a card, which would be a negative number. Then it also depends on if the card we pick up is positive or negative, or if the card we discard is positive or negative. So just to kind of give you a little scenario, you can either pick up a positive card, so that's what that plus plus is that I wrote. You could pick up a negative card. Okay, so do you see so far we have plus plus or we have plus minus, so it could be a positive situation, a positive negative situation. And then if I start with a negative, that means I'm discarding a positive card, or I could discard a negative card. So those are kind of the four scenarios that we're going to be talking about. And you can also see in example 1 that we've got 4 quadrants going on. And we're going to talk about how picking up positive cards would affect our score, picking up negative cards would affect our score, and then same thing with discarding positive or discarding negative. So the bulk of this lesson is going to be taking place right here in example 1. Okay, so we're going to complete quadrants 1 and 4. Those are already kind of set up for us. Quadrant 1 means that I have this number of matching cards, and the line going up and down is the value of them. So this means, this positive here means that I am picking up, okay, because that's the positive right here, picking up. And then over here represents positive cards. So we are picking up positive cards. That's going to make our score go up. That's the easiest quadrant to start with. It's the easiest one to explain. So we're going to be picking up positive cards, and this row right here tells us how many of the cards we pick up, and this one tells us the value of the cards. So if I pick up one positive 1, my score will go up 1. If I pick up one positive 2 card, my score will go up 2. So really we're just multiplying. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. I'm picking up one positive 4 card, I'm picking up one positive 5 card. All right, now for the next row, let's imagine that we picked up 2 of each of those. So if I pick up 2 positive 1 cards, my score goes up by 2. If I pick up 2 positive 2 cards, my score goes up 4. If I pick up 2 positive 3 cards, whoops, I didn't mean for both of those to move, sorry. If I pick up 2 positive 3 cards, my score goes up 6. 2 positive 4 cards, it goes up 8. 2 positive 5 cards, it goes up 10. Okay, pause it and then unpause it and see how you did with the rest of them. The next row you can do, and you don't have to go in order. You can pick which order you want to go in. So if you want to do the 3s next, or maybe you even want to go across and do these ones next, that's up to you. So pause it and then unpause it and see how you did. Okay, how did you do? If you were picking up positive cards, they're all positive numbers. Now, down below in quadrant 4, that's the next one that they want us to do, I'm still picking up, because it says the number of matching cards. So I'm picking up either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of a number. But this time I'm picking up negative cards. So the cards that I'm picking up have a negative value. So this one represents picking up negative cards. So we're going to signify that. Let's say it like this, up above. Let's say that this would be a positive times a positive. And then these ones, I'm still picking up, so that would be a positive number of cards. But this time I'm picking up negative cards. So if I'm picking up negative cards, we know from our last lesson, that means my score is going down. So if I pick up one positive -1 card, my score will go down 1. And if I pick up a negative 2 card, my score goes down 2. And if I pick up a -3, if I pick up a -4, if I pick up a -5. So that's if I pick up one of those. Let's look at this next column. This one is going to be the one that kind of helps us understand. This time I'm picking up 2 of these cards. So what if I have 2 -1 cards? Then my score would be -2. What if I pick up 2 -2 cards? That's -2 and -2, which is -4. All right, what about 2 -3 cards? That's -3 and -3. Okay, you can hopefully get the idea for that column. Let's go ahead and look at if I pick up 3 of these. What if I pick up 3 -1 cards? Yeah, that's -1, -1, -1. If I pick up 3 -2 cards, that's -6. I want you to keep going here, and you're going to really start to notice a pattern, especially if you start to compare it to quadrant 1. You should be noticing a pattern. Okay, unpause it when you're ready to see how you did. Okay, hopefully you're doing okay with your math facts here, or maybe you're getting a refresher on some of them. Okay, remember, if you have a question on any of these, bring your questions to class so that I can help you understand and answer them. All right, let's move on to a couple questions. We don't want to do quadrants 2 or 3 yet. What patterns do you see in the right half of the table? So what patterns do you see? Well, we notice that the top right, quadrant 1, has all positive answers. And then staying with that, we notice that quadrant 4, the bottom right, has all negative answers. Okay, now we're going to enter in the missing integers on the left side right here. So if I'm picking up 1 card or 2 matching cards or 3 matching cards or 4 matching cards or 5 matching cards, I can also put down 1 matching card, or I can discard 2 matching cards. I can discard 3, I can discard 4, and that is going to be represented with a negative integer. So that would be discarding 1 card, that would be discarding 2 of the same cards, this would be discarding 3, discarding 4, and discarding 5 matching cards. Okay, so let's draw a little arrow here, kind of how they have the number of matching cards. So we're going to say we are discarding this number of matching cards. So now all of the that kind of like the axes, if you remember that this going across is the x-axis and going up and down is the y-axis. So we kind of have those all done. I'm going to get that out of there, though, so that it's not confusing. We don't have too many markings up on our table. Okay, so for the next question, we want to know what that describes, and we basically just said it. So it's discarding this number of matching cards. We can write that in right there. Discarding that number of matching cards. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and it's going to say to complete quadrant 2 of the table. So let's look at quadrant 2. I'm not going to flip the page because we're going right back to page 68. So we're going to fill in quadrant 2. Here's quadrant 2. That means I'm discarding either 1 positive 1, or I'm discarding 2 positive 1s, I'm discarding 3 positive 1s. So we're getting rid of these positive cards. What happens to our score when we get rid of positive cards? It's going to go down. Okay, so if I discard 1 positive 1, my score goes down 1. If I discard 2 positive 1s, then my score goes down 2. And if I discard 3 of them, if I discard 4 of them, if I discard 5 of them. Okay, let's go to the next one. And by the way, there's other ways to fill in these patterns. I think that, if you're starting to notice, sometimes you can go up, you can go down, you can even, do all the 1s first, then the 2s. It's up to you how you see it. But this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you now if I discard positive 2s. So if I discard 1 positive 2, my score goes down 2. But if I discard 2 positive 2s, my score goes down 4. And if I discard 3 positive 2s, if I discard 4 positive 2s. Okay, again, you're probably starting to see a pattern, which is really good. Go ahead and try to fill in the last 3 rows, pause it and unpause it. So even sometimes I like to mix it up a little bit. And you start to see a lot of the numbers are repeated because 4 times negative 3 is actually the same as negative 4 times 3. So you notice that negative 12 showed up there twice. Okay, our question says, what pattern or relationship do you notice between the products in quadrant 2 and the products in quadrant 1? So we're right here. What do you notice about them? So we notice that quadrant 2 is all negative, or let's say has all negative answers. And then also, just to kind of remember that that also means products, so that you hear that word more often. Quadrant 1 has all positive products answers. Same thing. So products are answers to multiplication problems. All right, so there we go. That's our first one. What relationship or pattern do you notice between the products and values in quadrant 2 versus quadrant 4? So now look at quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. Those are both all negative. Both quadrants 2 and 4. So again, it's good to see it in Roman numerals and numbers so you don't forget what those mean. Both quadrants 2 and 4 have all negative products answers. So a lot of times you see products and you don't know what that word means. So let's try to get comfortable with that. Okay, so what do we know about the products in quadrants 1, 2, and 4 to describe what quadrant 3 will look like when its products or values are entered? Okay, well, I'm going to just kind of simplify that for us so it makes a little more sense. We saw in quadrant 1 that a positive times a positive gave us a positive answer. We saw in quadrant 2 that a negative times a positive gave us a negative answer. And then we saw in quadrant 4 that a positive times a negative also gave us a negative answer. So now we're going to predict what will happen when we have a negative number times a negative number. Now, this is one of those things where I'm going to tell you what the answer is, but I'm also going to try to explain it using the integer game. And I know that a lot of you might think like, okay, it's hard for me to imagine discarding a negative. And if it is trouble having you discard a negative, look at this very simple example. If I have these cards, -3, +2, and +5. Okay, you can easily figure out that that would be a value of 4. 4. Okay, if you don't know, you can try it on your own. I do +2 and +5 is 7, and then 3 to the left from there would be 4. Now, discarding a negative, you can draw this visual if it helps you. If you discard a negative, well, now your score is 7, so it went up. So that's the kind of thing I just want you to remember, that discarding a negative, that's what the negative times negative. So if I'm getting rid of a negative, it actually causes my score to go up, because I'm getting rid of those negative numbers. So I don't have, I'm not going to the left those 3 units anymore. So a negative times a negative is actually going to be a positive. With that said, I want you to go ahead and fill in quadrant 3 all on your own. It's a negative times a negative, so all the answers are going to be positive. In fact, it's going to look exactly like quadrant 1, just on the other side of the origin. So go ahead and fill those in, and then you can unpause it. If you're not quite sure what to do, you can watch me start to fill it in, but then you can pause it and finish it for yourself. yourself. And remember, no calculators. That this unit is no calculators. Okay, here we go. Down here, we've got -1 times -1. So if I get rid of a -1, my score actually goes up 1. If I get rid of a -2, my score goes up 2. And if I get rid of a -3, a -4, or a -5, my score will go up by 3, 4, or 5 points because I'm getting rid of those negative cards. Okay, what if I get rid of 2 -1s? Well, then my score will go up 2. And if I go up 2 -2s, my score goes up 4. Okay, if you were watching me and now you got the hang of it, pause it now. If you already filled it in, you can just let this keep playing so you can see the answers. Okay, so in quadrant 4, we know that we are discarding negative cards. And then we do need to go back up to quadrant 1. I forgot to fill that in. We are discarding positive cards. Okay, and so in this one, I'm discarding positive, and you see that all the answers are negative. And down below, I'm discarding negative, and all the answers ended up being positive. So if you look back on right above part C, that's the one that we're about to fill in right here, right above part C. This is going to help you, these are basically your rules for multiplying, and really cool, these are also going to be your rules for dividing. So it'll be the same thing except they'll be division signs. Okay, so for part C, we already completed quadrant 3. In the integer game, what happens to a player's score when he removes a matching set of cards with negative values? So when you remove negative cards, your score will increase or go up. Okay, and then you could even draw a little arrow to this example that we had right here so that you can kind of remind yourself, oh look, my score was 4. When I discarded a negative, my score went up. And you saw that actually on topic A, on the assessment reviews and different questions from topic A. Okay, and then refer to the completed table. Is it possible to know the sign of a product of two integers just by knowing in which quadrant the integer is located? Okay, or it's like saying if you know the signs of the two numbers, can you figure out what the sign of the answer will be? And the answer is yes. If the signs of the two factors are the same, the answer will be positive. If the signs of the two factors are different, that means one positive and one negative, the answer will be negative. Okay, and then we also kind of answered that right up here by showing the diagram of what happens when you have a positive times a positive, a negative times a negative, a positive times a negative, and a negative times a positive. So basically, when the signs are the same, positive and positive, it's positive. And same thing here. They were both negative factors, so the answer is also going to end up being positive. It's when the signs are different, like you have one of each. You have one negative and one positive, then that's a negative number. If it's a positive and a negative, again, one of each, it's also a negative answer. So these two things here kind of say the same thing. And then we're not going to do the last question, so you can just write which quadrants contain which values. Let's just skip that one. I feel like we kind of have gotten in depth here. And then on page 70, we're actually going to do that in class. So just to clarify, some people are saying you said in the video we didn't have to do that. No, this is going to be part of your independent practice tomorrow in class. So you are going to do this along with page 71. Page 71 doesn't take too long if you peeked at it already. So that is a wrap on this video, and I'm going to stop before we get to 20 minutes. Okay, see you later.